guest today is David Weinberg, who's the General Counsel of the Rechargeable Battery Association. He's been here before, and it's great to see you again, David. Thanks
Thank you,
for coming.
My pleasure.
Yeah, this is a complicated issue on batteries, and you've been working on recycling issues for more than 20 years. Can you explain a little bit?
Sure. I've been working with the battery industry, all segments of the battery industry, for 25 years or so, both the automotive battery people who have a very successful recycling program based on state legislation that we've taken the lead in getting adopted around the country, and the rechargeable batteries for things like consumer products, which the Rechargeable Battery Association represents, which put together a free for the public, free for retailers recycling program 15 years ago. And to do that had to get regulations and legislation changed to make it possible, but it's been very successful with that program in those last 15 years.
Well, we're all now, more batteries. We all have more batteries for products, phones, and what have you. But there's a growing list of proposed recycling, e-waste, and product stewardship regulations, and it involves with 7 Canadian provinces in the United States. What's going on?
Well, what's going on is a expansion of a concept that began 15 years ago and is now expanding as to many other products. Began 15 years ago, and rechargeable batteries were the poster child, seeking to have the manufacturers and suppliers of those batteries responsible for them at their end of life, which led the rechargeable battery industry through what is called PRBA, the Rechargeable Battery Association, to develop a nationwide program to recycle those batteries. Set up a not-for-profit company called RBRC that runs something called Call to Recycle, and has collected 50 million batteries in the years since. More recently, there has been attention to things like waste TVs, waste computers, various other waste products, and efforts to impose legislative obligations on the suppliers of those products, both here in the United States and in Canada, as you say, to have them do something similar to what the rechargeable battery industry did voluntarily 15 years ago. And the challenge to the rechargeable battery industry, frankly, is to not be collateral damage as people try to implement those other programs, to have them recognize we've got a successful program, keep it in place, do what you decide needs to be done as to these other products, but don't disrupt this successful rechargeable battery program.
What's the problem that's involved in that? What's the problem for the rechargeable battery industry?
The big problem is that most of the activity that's going on now is going on a state-by-state basis, or province-by-province in Canada. And even the most well-meaning people, if they develop 50 different state programs and a dozen different Canadian programs, are going to make it impossible to lead a national program like RBRC operates, the charge risk. They'll have different reporting periods. They'll have different obligations to file updates. They'll have different approval requirements. I'll give you an example. When we first started the rechargeable battery recycling program, the concern was with nickel-cadmium batteries. Those were being used in cell phones and computers and so forth. Now, a different kind of batteries are used in those products, something called lithium-ion. The RBRC program adjusted itself, expanded to include the other kinds of batteries, had to adjust its fee-setting program that it assessed the fees against the manufacturers from. Those things happened, and happened quite efficiently and effectively. If we'd had to go, though, to 50 different states to get approval of the change in the schedule or approval on the change in the program, it would have become an administrative nightmare. And those states wouldn't have intended that. They would have been acting in good faith, but they just inadvertently
And so now that's going to happen as you see it.
That's what we're concerned about, and we're finding ourselves, after 15 years, having fought this battle 15 years ago and shifted to dealing with other issues, dealing with safety issues, dealing with electric vehicle issues, and so forth, finding ourselves back dealing with the recycling issues. Kind of the price of our good intentions is to
have to
go back now and protect ourselves.
Now, the Rechargeable Battery Association has intervened successfully in several states, devising sustainability, which means you said recycling plans.
Yeah, what we've done is we've found in most places where when we explain the situation to the legislators, they get it very quickly. They realize they didn't mean to disrupt this program. But it's an effort to do that. It takes time and it takes resources, and that means money. And for trade associations, That means they have to make sure that their members understand the nature of the challenges that they're facing. And this is a very important challenge.
One quick question before we close. Where do you think it's going for the industry?
I think we're going to be able to continue to operate the RBRC program. I think it's going to be successful, but I think it's going to be a continuing challenge to address both at the state and ultimately at the federal level, making sure that the good intentions of policy people don't disrupt what is a very fine program and a successful program right
David
now.
Weinberg, thank you so much for being here. I'm Chuck Conconi, and this has been Focus Washington.